What's good, YouTube? Nova here, bringing you guys my updated version for Raid Raptors. So, I've decided to change this deck a little bit around, so it's no longer heavy based on the Raid Raptor monsters. I tried to keep it generally as tiny as it can be, but as consistent as possible. So let's start off with the monsters. I'm playing 3 copies of Vanishing Lanius. Now, Vanishing Lanius, obviously, when he's normal or special summoned, he's an additional. You get to special summon 1 from your hand. Now, this effect is a nice effect, as it's not immediate summon. So if you normal summon this and then exceed summon with it, and then add another copy of it, you can then, because the field still recognizes that Vanishing Lanius had effect still had gone off, you can normal summon again. So generally what this guy generally is here for, though, he's generally to be your extra summon. He's generally a rank 4, so you get to an extra summon off of this guy. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Tribute Lanius. Now, Tribute Lanius is kind of interesting. He's guarded the fact that when he's normal or special summon, you can send 1 Raid Raptor card from your deck to the graveyard, and then during your main phase 2, if this card destroyed a monster by battle, you can add 1 rank up magic quick play spell card from your deck to your hand, and then you can only special summon Raid Raptor monsters. The Raid Raptor thing is not so hard because you're playing a lot of Raid Raptor monsters in general, so you should be easy to special summon Raid Raptor monsters in general. But this card's main effect is mainly what you want to do is Vanishing Lanius, Tribute Lanius, and then go with sending Mimicry. Now, Mimicry is pretty cool. Mimicry Lanius is pretty sweet. When he's during your main phase, if this card was normal or special summon, you can increase the level of all monsters by 1. I'm actually not playing the level 5, so this effect is completely and utterly useless. So yeah, keep that in mind, that effect is useless. And also his other effect is during your main phase, if this card was sent there to the grave this turn, you can banish this card and you get to add a Raid Raptor card from your deck to your hand. I'm also not playing any Raid Raptor spell cards, so this effect or trap cards, so this effect is also irrelevant. But the main use for this is the ability to summon it and the ability to add any Raid Raptor monster basically from your deck to your hand. So you can essentially just play 1 card for. Basically, you can use 2 cards and make it 1 card worth. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Raid Raptor Fuzzy Lanius. Now, Fuzzy Lanius is pretty cool. He's the other, basically, if you control a Raid Raptor monster other than himself, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add another copy from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. And you can only special summon Raid Raptor monsters. Now, this is kind of good for 2 reasons. Because you can swarm the board with this, you can search it off of Force Tricks and kind of go combos and stuff. Detach, add 2, and then you can keep going with combo plays. But in general, this guy is your extra summon. So again, if you open Mimicry, you can normal summon Mimicry, special summon this card, overlay, detach either of them, whichever one you want to at the start, and you you can go off for free searches and stuff like that. So very, very good. And then rounding up the last Raid Raptor monster, like I said, it was very small. I'm playing just 1 copy of Lastrix. 1 copy is all you really need. I thought about 2, but I really thought like 1 is probably where I want to keep it, because you can search it very easy with this deck. So I figured, why not just play the 1 copy? You got the access to it very early on. But basically, what this card does is basically you contribute this card. Is more or less to special summon 1 Raid Raptor monster, Raid Raptor Xyz monster from your extra deck, in defense position, but its effects are negated, and you have to return it to the extra deck on the end phase. What you're usually going to do with this card is when you have him and rank up magic card, basically what you're going to end up doing is just ranking it up. So you're going to probably pull out either Satellite Cannon to go to Ultimate Falcon, Revolution Falcon to go into Satellite Falcon, or even just like one of your Force Tricks or your Blade Burner Falcon to go into Revolution Falcon. You can rank them all up very easy if you open 2 cards. So the ability to just go 1, tribute, summon, rank up is very nice. So it is actually only 13 Raid Raptor monsters, so a very small Raid Raptor lineup. But I mean, it's still pretty big. But you don't; those are all the good ones. You don't really need anything else. Next up, I'm playing 2 Summoner Monk. I like Summoner Monk for 2 reasons. So you can go Summoner Monk, summon Vanishing from deck. Vanishing effect can go off and special summon more stuff. So you can kind of swarm the board with more exceeds thanks to Summoner Monk. Plus, he's just another rank 4 kind of extra thing. And if you don't, you can just always drag out Mimicry to add the stuff you need. So he's pretty good. Next, to rounding up the monsters, I'm playing just 2 Maxi. These are the only hand traps you really need. If you wanted to, you can play Gamma Seals and Ghost Ogres in the main deck if you want to. But if you don't have to, if you don't want to, I just think that Maxi is probably just the best hand trap right now. So there's no point of playing any other hand traps. There's no real point. Next up, so that's 17 monsters. You could round up more if you wanted to, but I think 17 is pretty much all the deck needs. You can run through them pretty quick. Next up for the deck, we're playing the spells. You're playing 15 dark monsters, so I'm playing 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. This card, it's just, in general, it's just, again, Allure of Darkness is something you need. You don't need it, but with Allure of Darkness, it's always really good, though, because you can go Allure of Darkness, draw 2 cards, banish one of your darks, and you can just kind of go off from there. Really good. And you should never really run into a situation where you don't have any darks to banish. So always really good is the Allure of Darkness. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Rank Up Magic Skip Force. Now, Skip Force is pretty nice. This has the effect that you can basically activate. You can basically target one Raid Raptor or Xyz monster you control, special summon one Raid Raptor monster from your deck that is 2 ranks higher. So very cool. Or during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can target one. You can banish this card and one Raid Raptor monster, so any monster. And then you get to target one Raid Raptor Xyz in your graveyard and special summon it. So I like this in situations when you can make another rank up. You can be like, banish this and something else, special summon the Xyz, activate your rank up magic that you have in your hand, and then you get to rank up again, and it's pretty much a free rank up. So you have to play 3 Skip Force, especially with the way I've got it, because I'm only playing 4, 6, 8, and 10. So it's always going to be rank up twice. There is no rank 1. There is no in between where you need to rank up 1 time. Next up, I'm playing 2 copies of Rank Up Magic Soul Save Force. Soul Save Force, Shave Force is very nice because pay half your life points and target one Xyz monster in your graveyard, special summon it, then special summon from your extra deck one Xyz monster that is 2 ranks higher than that monster by using it as an Xyz material. This card is treated as an Xyz summon. I like this because if any of your level 4 Raid Raptor monsters dies, or even your level 6 or rank 6 or rank 8, you can always just rank them up, which is very nice. And with this, you can make infinity, which is pretty sweet. It is half your life points, but like I said, the reason I play 2 of this card is so I can get to it. It's just so I can get to it mostly, but also just playing 2 can sometimes work out. I mean, you only really need 1, but you see it better with 2. So that's kind of the reasoning why I did that. Next up, I'm playing 2 copies of Swallow's Nest. Swallow's Nest is nice because it lets you tribute summon a winged beast. So it's like, essentially what it does is you can like normal summon the Vanishing Lanius, normal summon the Tribute Lanius, send the Mimicry, Swallow's Nest into another Vanishing Lanius, and then Mimicry's effect goes off, which can then add you something else, which you can add the Fuzzy Lanius, normal summon the funniest Fuzzy Lanius with the effect if you want to, or even not even. You don't even have to. You can add another Tribute Lanius, summon Tribute Lanius, if you want to. Exceed some of these 2, make Force Tricks, and just keep going and bring out Fuzzy Lanius, special summon, Exceed summon, and just keep going off of that. So very easy plays with Swallow's Nest with just a couple of cards. in hand with that, so very nice. But in general, also with Swallow's Nest, if you open, let's say, Mimicry and Tribute Lanius and Swallow's Nest, and you're like, damn, I can't summon something, you can always be like, Tribute Lanius, send Mimicry Lanius, Swallow's Nest into it, and then banish, and you can make plays from there. So Swallow's Nest is very good with just kind of solving certain hand problems that the decks can sometimes have. It doesn't usually, like I said, because you're playing a good amount, a small engine, so and generally it's 6 and 6. But you do really need the Swallow's Nest for the situations that happens. Next up for the staples, I'm playing 2 Twin Twister, 1 Foolish. The Foolish is for the Mimicry. You send it and then you get to pitch and add, so it's kind of like a mini Rhoda for the deck. Then Raigeki, and just 1 Upstart to make the deck just a 39 card deck for a little bit more consistency, even though this deck is crazy consistent. So crazy consistent. Next up for trap cards, that's 15 spells, 17 monsters. So we've got 8 traps in the deck. So 1, we got Quaking Mirror Force. Basically, just when your opponent monster declares an attack, bump them all face down. They can't flip up. Very nice. 1 Trap Tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare, or 1 Floodgate Trap Hole. I don't know why I said Trap Tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare. The Floodgate, because basically when they summons more than 1 monster, or even 1 monster, that's gonna be a problem. Flip it face down. They can't flip it face up. So these these 2 cards lock your opponent's board a little bit. Bottomless Trap Hole. Your opponent summons, banish it if it's 1500 or more. General warning, obvious. 2 strikes. Again, I only like playing the 2 and 1. That's my personal preference. And then 2 Icarus attack for the tribute. Tribute destroy 2. It's kind of very easy with this card, and you're playing a lot of winged beast targets, so the 2 is very live. So that's it for the 40 card. That's it for the deck. It's 40 cards. It should be 40 cards exactly. Now moving on to the extra deck. Starting off with the Raid Raptor stuff, we got 3 copies of Raid Raptor Force Tricks. Force Tricks is a standard. Basically, his effect is 2 level 4 monsters, so I need 2. He's generic. This card gains 500 attack and defense for each winged beast monster other than this card. And then once per turn, you can detach this card. You can detach 1 Exceeds material from this card to add a level 4 dark winged beast monster from your deck to hand. So you can add any of your Raid Raptor monsters. So as you can see, the searching is really good. And if you have 1 and you get 2, and if you get 3, they can bump each other up by 1,000 attack. 1,000 attack. 1,000 attack. 1,000 attack and defense each, because it doesn't count as itself. So they sit on 3,000 defenses each. You can play 2 if you want to. I've just got 3 because I like 3. But if you don't want to play 3 copies and you only want to play 2, that is perfectly fine. If you wanted to drop 1, you can play Gaia Cowboy, because I'm not playing the Cowboy in my deck. Next up, I'm playing 1 Raid Raptor Blade Burner Falcon. Blade Burner Falcon is kind of cool. He's difficult, I guess, in situations. Basically, he's 2 level 4 Winged Beast type monsters. Basically, if this card is Exceed Summon, and your opponent's life point is at least 3,000 higher than yours, you can make this card basically gain 3,000. So it jumps to 4,000. And then if this destroys an opponent's monster, you can detach any number of Exceed materials to destroy cards equal to that number of detached materials. So he's nice, but he's kind of situational in the fact that you can only really summon him when your opponent's got 3,000 or more life points than you, because he just sitting on 1,000 is not the best. You could though Exceed Summon into him if you have no options, and then rank him up. That is something you can do. So 1 of him, he's all right. 1 Raid Raptor Revolution Falcon, rank him up is useful, but his effect, his main effect is you can detach this card, and then you can detach 1 Exceed material. He can attack all monsters your opponent controls, and then basically if this battles a special on monster, that monster's attack attack and defense becomes 0, so he's going to be hitting for 2,000 direct on that battle. And then if he has a Raid Raptor Exceeds material from your as a material, you can basically go once per turn. You can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do inflict that much amount of damage, equal half of its attack to your opponent. So he's very nice. You can summon him, detach, attack everything, and then once per turn you can kill something, inflict half the damage, and then poke with him. So overall, he's pretty decent. I mean, he's not amazing, but he's decent. One Raid Raptor Satellite Cannon Falcon. This one is kind of useful in situations. Basically, you can Exceed summon it by using a Raid Raptor Exceed monster. You can destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls, so that's nice. He's basically Feather Storm for your for you when you summon him. And then basically your opponent cannot activate cards effects in response to his activation. And then you can detach this one. You can detach during our player's turn. You can detach one Exceed material from this card. You target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 800 attack for each. That's about it. I mean, he's not gotten a crazy effect, but he's very good, and he's got a 3,000 attack and 2,000 defense. Next, for the last Raid Raptor monster, we've got Ultimate Falcon. Basically, all these can be made with Skip Force and Shave Force, so you just keep that in mind. Basically, he's unaffected by other cards. You can detach one Exceed material from this card. For the rest of the turn, all monster your controls lose 1,000 attack. Also, cards their effects are negated. And then if he has a Raid Raptor Exceed monster as an Exceed material, or a Raid Raptor monster as an Exceed material, you can go once per turn, detach one Exceed, and then all monsters you control lose 1,000 attack. And if your opponent controls no face-up monsters, you get to inflict 1,000 damage. So he's kind of broken for inflicting damage. He comes out with 1,000 lost. Detach again, that's another 1,000 lost. And then on top of that, if your opponent doesn't control any monsters, if they don't end up losing all their monsters, they get hit with 1,000 direct, which is kind of crazy. And then another card you can make with Shoal Save Force is going to be Cyber Dragon Affinity. Cyber Dragon Affinity is basically a once per turn negation that also has the once per turn silent on their arc effect. So Infinity, very good, and he gets 300 points stronger for every material he gains. Moving on to the last of the rank 4s. So I'm playing one Ice Beast Zero Fine. This one needs 2 level 4 winged beasts. This one's pretty cool. It has once per turn, detach one of these material from this card. Negate the effects of all the face-up cards your opponent currently controls, and if you do, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card currently on the field. And then accept this card, of course. And then each card, these effects apply only till the end phase. So he's 2,000. Then if your opponent has, let's say, 2 monsters and a back row face up, you get to activate this card, negate all those cards. And then this card gains 900 attack. Very, very good. Very good, because he can become much stronger. And then on top of that, he can negate card effects. Playing Trap Trick for the Rafflesia. Sit on Rafflesia, you have Floodgate and Bottomless, so I figured, I'll slap it in the deck. I'm playing a couple of traps. If you can pull them off first turn, sit behind 2 back rows, sit behind Rafflesia, your opponent's going to be crying a little bit. Speaking of the Aura Arc effect and Castel, I'm playing one of each of them. It's standard, both of those. And then I'm playing the Utopia Ray, and the Utopia Lightning, just to be able to beat over big monsters that this deck has a problem with getting over. Literally, once your opponent's past 2,500 attack points, there's very little monsters that you can make that can get over it without needing the rank up. So having the ability to at least go Utopia the Lightning, make him 5,000 attack, your opponent can't activate card effects, is very good. So this has been my updated Raid Raptor deck. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.